Did you know that one simple act of kindness can change a life forever? This is the true story of a man who spent decades homeless, forgotten by the world. Until one day, a stranger's kindness led him back to the family he never knew he had. His name? Mike Myers. Or at least, that's what he thought. What if everything you knew about yourself was a lie? Mike Myers was born as Gordon Michael Oakley in 1950 in Reno, Nevada. But his life took a tragic turn when he was just 2 years old. His mother, Pauline, was a single mother struggling to survive. When Mike developed a serious stomach condition, she was forced to make an impossible choice. She couldn't afford the medical care he needed. Heartbroken, she gave him up for adoption, hoping another family could give him the life she couldn't. Mike was adopted by a couple in San Leandro, California. On the outside, he seemed like an ordinary kid, a B student, a marching band member, a normal boy growing up in the suburbs. But inside, he always felt different. He never truly connected with his adoptive family. His siblings didn't accept him, and he always felt like an outsider. The only person who made him feel safe was his foster mother. She gave him love and support, but even she couldn't protect him from what was coming next. As an adult, Mike struggled to hold a job. He worked as a truck driver until one devastating accident changed everything. The crash left him severely injured, forcing him to spend over a year in a wheelchair. Even when he recovered, the pain never went away. He could barely stand, let alone drive. Finding work became impossible. One by one, he lost everything: his job, his home, and even his connection to his adoptive family. By the time Mike turned 67 in 2017, he had spent most of his life homeless. He had no ID, no social security card, no proof he even existed. To survive, he played his guitar on the streets of Foothill Boulevard, begging for spare change. He had lost all hope of ever finding his family. Until one day, everything changed. On an ordinary afternoon, Deputy Sheriff Jacob Sward saw Mike sitting on the street. He had seen him before, but this time, something felt different. Mike had no ID, nothing to prove who he was. But instead of just walking away, the deputy did something no one else had done. He decided to dig deeper. He made a promise. "I'll help you find out who you are." What started as a simple ID check turned into a shocking discovery. Deputy Sward searched government databases, but Mike Myers didn't exist. There were no records of his name, no work history, nothing. Then he uncovered something unbelievable. Mike Myers wasn't his real name at all. His birth name was Gordon Michael Oakley, and he had been given up for adoption as a child. Mike was stunned. He had no memory of his real name, his birth family, or his past. Who was he? Did he have a family out there? Mike's story caught the attention of a local news station, and soon, a private investigator named Mark Arkin stepped in. Arkin had years of experience working with Miracle Messages, a nonprofit dedicated to reuniting homeless people with their families. And he was determined to find Mike's lost past. The only clue? An old birth certificate. For weeks, he searched through ancient handwritten records, chasing every possible lead. Until finally, he found her. Her name was Marie Pauline Oakley. She was 85 years old, and she had been searching for her son for over 60 years. When she got the call, she broke down in tears. She had never stopped wondering what had happened to her baby boy. And now, after all these years, she had one last chance to hold him again. Mike, along with Deputy Sward and Mark Arkin, traveled to meet Pauline. When he arrived, he was met by his niece Shannon, who had never even known he existed. And then, the moment came. Pauline and Mike saw each other for the first time in over 6 decades. Without a word, they embraced, holding onto each other as if they could make up for all the lost years. Tears streamed down their faces. For over an hour, they just held each other. Pauline showed Mike old photo albums filled with pictures of the siblings he never knew he had. She told him stories of the past, and Mike told her about his life on the streets, the struggles, the loneliness, but also about the kindness of strangers who had helped him survive. When Pauline heard about the pain he had endured, she was heartbroken. "It hurts me so much to think of what he went through," she said, wiping her tears. "But I'm so grateful we found each other again." With the help of Deputy Sward, Mark Arkin, and his new family, Mike got his identity back. He moved into stable housing, reconnected with his long-lost siblings, and started rebuilding his life. For the first time in decades, he was no longer alone. Mike's story is more than just one man's journey. It's a reminder behind every homeless person is a story, a struggle, a life. Many are lost in a system that has forgotten them. But a single act of kindness can change everything. One cop, one investigator, one mother's love. Together they gave a lost man his life back. And if this story teaches us anything, it's that even the smallest act of compassion can lead to a miracle.